Welcome back. We are towards the end of Unit 3, Chapter 8. We're looking at exercises 8-2 and 8-3. We're looking at the food cost percent and the selling price. We're actually going to be able to calculate what we're going to sell our items for. And here is the third of our three pyramids. And they, again, work the exact same way. If you have the two values on top of each other, you divide. If you have the two bottom ones beside each other, you multiply. Now, what do the values stand for? In red at the top, it's the food cost. How much is this menu item costing us in our food cost? And it is usually the EP, the edible portion cost, that we use for this. So don't forget when you're calculating things to always use your EP costs. Down here at the bottom, again, always expressed as a percent, is the food cost percent. And we've talked about that in class. It's the percent of every dollar that you get in revenue from your customers that is going to help pay for the cost of the food. And ta-dam, here it is, the SP, the selling price, what this whole course is about. How do we figure out a selling price that will make financial sense and allow us to get the profits that we're looking for? So let's move on and start using the pyramid. Again, I've tried to color coordinate things. The first question is we're looking for the food cost percent. So as you can see, we're looking for this figure here. That means we must have the food cost and we must have the selling price. And since they're on top of each other, we divide. So here is the cost divided by the sales, or in this example, $200 divided by $500, we have a food cost of 40%. Here we have $178.50 in food costs, which generated $700 in sales for us, giving us a food cost percent of 25.5%. And this last example, $127.80 in edible portion food cost, divided by our total sales of that food of $450, we had a food cost of 28.4%. Moving on to the other way we can use the pyramid, let's get that selling price. And again, if we want the selling price, we need the food cost and we need the food cost percent. They are on top of each other, so we divide the food cost by the food cost percent. Divide the food cost by the food cost percent. $1.18 divided by decimal 31, rounding out in figures ending with 5 cents. So each one of our final answers has to end in 5 cents. Our first example, $3.85. Take the food cost of $2.93 divided by the food cost percent of decimal 285, and we get a rounded answer to the nearest number ending in 5 cents of $10.25. And the last example, our food cost of $4.17 with a food cost percent of 34.25%, or its decimal equivalent, decimal 3425, rounded off to the nearest 5 cents, or the nearest number ending in 5 cents, $12.15. And the last way we can use the pyramid, how do we figure out the food cost? To figure out the food cost, we must have the food cost percent and the sales price. They're at the bottom of the pyramid, they're beside each other, so we multiply these two numbers. So the food cost percent times our sales, decimal 28 times 4 or $500, we would have $140 to put together that those menu items. 34.8% times $225 gives us $78.30. And our last example, a food cost percent of 29.7%. If we multiply that by the sales we generated of $790, we get $234.63. Notice no rounding was asked for. That's why we're leaving it the way it is. So let's take a look at another question that I really love, because it gives us all three ways of using the pyramid in one question. We have a column of costs, we have a column of selling prices, and we have a column of percents. So we're looking for the selling price in this question, and the selling price is over here, so we must divide the food cost by the food cost percent, the food cost by the food cost percent. So our equation is $1.20 divided by decimal 32, 300 or $3.75. Let's take a look here. Round off the dollar values to the nearest cent and the percents to one decimal place. Okay, well, this is rounded off to the nearest cent. Then we are looking for the cost here, and if we want the cost, we need the food cost percent and the sales price, and we need to multiply those. There's the selling price. There's the food cost percent. Multiply it, 12.95 times decimal 45, rounded to the nearest cent, $5.83. And in the last example, we are looking for the food cost percent. We are looking for this. We must divide the food cost by the selling price. The food cost is $300. The selling price is $700. $300 divided by $700, rounded to one decimal place, as we've been asked for. 42.9% would give us the food cost percent. Practical questions, our favorites. Number one, we have a prime rib roast that weighed 7.5 kilograms raw and 5.85 kilograms cooked. What is the yield percent? Well, if we remember our pyramid, the yield percent is calculated by taking the cost of, or the amount of EP divided by EP. How much we have, see, we're looking for a yield percent, not money here. So we're going to take what our cooked prime rib weighed, and we're going to divide it by how much we originally bought. This is the EP. This is what we had left after prepping and cooking, and this is how much we bought. It's the AP. So 2.85 divided by 7.5 equals 78%. So the yield on this particular rib roast is 78%. Now the next question says, if we paid $6.55 per kilogram, what is the cost per kilogram of cooked prime rib, rounded to the nearest cent? We're looking for the EP unit cost. EP unit cost. We want to use the formula. And to calculate the EP unit cost, we take the AP unit cost and divide it by the yield percent. Well, here they give us the AP unit cost, and up here we calculated the yield percent. So our AP unit cost of $6.55 per kg divided by our 78% yield percent, rounded off to the nearest cent, $8.40 is our EP unit cost. From here, they want us to calculate a 200-gram portion of cooked prime rib. We want the EP cost of 200 grams. So again, we're unit costing. We know we paid $8.40 for the EP kilogram. We're going to divide that by 1,000 to get us the cost of 1 gram and multiply it by the 200-gram portion that we're looking for. So our EP unit cost of $8.40 divided by 1,000, we don't care what that answer is. That's not what the question is looking for. We just need to realize this division is giving us the cost of 1 gram. We're going to multiply the cost of 1 gram by 200. We get $1.68 as our final EP cost for our 200-gram portion. Now, if all we wanted to do is to sell this 200-gram portion of cooked prime rib, we would need to determine our menu price. If we had these food cost percents, and we want to round it off to the nearest cent. So we want the selling price. To do the selling price, we must have the cost, and we're going to divide by the food cost percent. So our first example, $1.68 divided by decimal 28 gives us $6. We would have to sell this 200-gram portion for $6. And for the other two examples, it's still $1.68, but we divide by 34% and we divide by 40% to get the menu prices for those particular, what's going to come to me here? Food cost percent. There you go. Now, our next question. A boneless ham yields 68% edible portion when cooked. Basically, what that means is we've trimmed, we've cooked, and we've gotten it ready, and we were left with 68% of what we started off with. If the AP cost of the boneless ham was $3.89, let's find the cost per pound for the edible portion. In other words, we're looking for the EP unit cost. Again, we're looking for costs, so we're going to use the formula. And the formula says you take the AP cost and divide it by the yield percent. The AP cost of $3.89 divided by the yield percent is 68%. We get $5.721 rounded to 3 decimal places. So again, the AP unit cost divided by the yield percent gives us the AP unit cost. Next question, a hamburger platter deluxe cost $1.35 to prepare. There's our food cost, $1.35, and our food cost percent at this particular restaurant is 28%. Let's figure out the menu prices, rounding off to the nearest 5 cents. to determine the menu price, rounding off to the nearest 5 cents. So 5 cents, 10 cents, 15, 20, 25. So to figure out the selling price, we take the food cost percent we take the food cost and divide it by the food cost percent. Food cost of $1.35 divided by the food cost percent, 28% or decimal 28, rounded to the nearest 5-cent multiple, $4.85. Now, if we decided to raise these menu prices by 15%, what would the new selling price be? And again, we're going to round it off to the nearest multiple of 5 cents. So we have to add 15% to 485. We've done this before. A couple of ways of doing it. We can take 485 and multiply it by 15%, and whatever that answer is, and it's not important here because that's not what the question is looking for, but this multiplication will give us 15% of 485. So we simply add it back to 485, and when you round it, you get $5.65. Of course, there's another way of doing it, my favorite way, because it's a little bit quicker. You take the cost, you multiply it by itself, 1 plus 15%. So if you multiply any number by 1.15, your answer will automatically be that number plus 15% added to it. Now we have a senior citizen who receives a 10% discount on the above price. What would they be charged for the hamburger platter? So now what we have to do is we have to figure out what 10% of $5.65 is. And since it's a discount, we will subtract it from $5.65. So two ways of doing this. $5.65 times 10% will give us this price. And we simply subtract it from $5.65, and rounding it off to the nearest cent, we get $5.09. Of course, the other way, there's our cost. If they're getting a 10% discount, they only have to pay for 90% of the original price. So if you multiply any number by 90%, you get 90% of what that number is worth. And as you can see, they both add up to $5.09. Our next question, the menu price for a chicken dinner is $8.95. That's how much we sell it for. Our food cost percent is 33%. So let's figure out what it costs us to prepare this particular item, and we're going to round off to 3 decimal places. So we're looking for the food cost, and the formula for that is taking the selling price and multiplying it by the food cost percent, in this case $8.95 times 33%, rounded to 3 decimal places, it's $2.954. In other words, we have just over $2.95 to put together this chicken dinner, so we can sell it at $8.95 if our food cost percent is 33%. A Reuben sandwich costs $2.20 and sells for $5.50. What is the food cost percent? In other words, we're looking for the food cost percent. Remember the pyramid? We're going to take the cost and divide it by the selling price, and we would multiply by 100, of course. 220 divided by 550 will give us decimal 4, but we multiply it by 100 to get the percent. So $2.20 divided by $5.50 gives us a 40% food cost percent. So there you go. You've now played with the pyramids. You now know exactly how they work. Good luck the rest of the way. Remember, practice.